Good Wednesday morning. I hope this finds you well and that you're living your very best and blessed life in Jesus Christ. In my past, I've been described by many people using many descriptive words, some nice and some not so nice. And as much as I wish I could say I took the positive words and threw away the negative, however, that would not be true, nor would it be helpful. The truth is that most of the time it's exactly the opposite. When someone compliments me, I tend to say to myself, well, they're just being kind. Whereas when I'm criticized, I tend to internalize it and allow it to totally ruin my day, lambasting myself for my perceived failure, as if lashing myself with a mental cat of nine tails. With the Lord's help and guidance, I'm gradually growing out of this horrible, destructive tendency, but it is insidious and can sneak up on me if I'm not careful. Please don't take this the wrong way. I work very hard to make sure my messages, sermons, and devotionals are well prepared, scripturally valid, and most importantly, God has inspired me to preach, teach, and say. But often, even though I know that I have done my very best, I will find myself upset over them because they didn't go the way I wanted, or because I felt that they were subpar in some way. And this happened quite recently. Frankly, it threatened to ruin my entire day. It was only through fervent prayer and reaffirmation of my relationship with Christ that I was finally able to get rid of this lingering shadow. But experience has told me that it will recur, it will return, simply because, as my mother used to remind me often, I'm simply too hard on myself. You know, of all the voices we listen to, other than that of God, of course, the voice that has the most effect upon us is the voice we use to speak to ourselves. Many of us are in a constant war with our past and the bitterness and negativity that tends to color our todays and tomorrows if we're not actively fighting it with the Lord's help. I suppose what it boils down to is that we need to be more patient and forgiving with ourselves as God is patient and forgiving of us. Easy to say, right? But if God is patient with us, which He is, shouldn't we emulate Him and extend grace and patience to ourselves as well? Living in regret, trust me, doesn't help us to move forward. But if we surrender that regret to God, we can use our weaknesses for His glory and, frankly, for our good. You know, perhaps the key to accepting ourselves, which is, by the way, a necessary prerequisite to being able to unconditionally love others, comes from seeing ourselves as the Lord sees us and not the way we tend to see ourselves. The Apostle Paul says this in this way in Ephesians 1:4, For he chose us in Him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in His sight. In love, He predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ, in accordance with His pleasure and will. When He looks at us, He sees what we will someday be, what we will be, not what we currently are. I don't know about you, but I think of that as a wonderful blessing, because I don't know about you, but I'm still a mess sometimes. Through His love, His grace, His mercy, His strength, and through His loving and patient tutelage, I'm getting better every day. Praise the Lord. So that sermon wasn't the best I've ever done. Oh, well, that devotional was not particularly well written. Oh, I messed up on that music. Or maybe that music was not what I really wanted it to be. Well, I got a choice. I can get upset and beat myself up, or I can see it through God's eyes. I mean, it will get better. Even more important, I will get better. He promises me, and I believe Him. So today, I encourage you to stop being so hard on yourself. Stop beating up on yourself. Trust me, I know what that's all about. Cut yourself some slack. And remember, He loves you. He sees you as His masterpiece. And you know what? In the end, I think how He thinks of us is what matters the most. Don't you? I hope you make today a fantastic day. I want you to know that I'm here should you need me, and I truly love you all.